Hey, good morning, everybody. Or afternoon, evening. It's actually good night for me. I started working at 8 p.m. last night, and it is currently about 8 a.m. So now I've been parked all night, but I've been doing other work. I've got other things going on I've been working on. I went and dropped a load last night at this same place. My load wasn't ready, so I came back this morning. So anyway, guys, welcome back to the channel, Eric here, Driveline. I'm ready to get back into YouTube. I had a long sabbatical from YouTube. I had a lot of things going on. Members of the channel and members on Discord, a lot of members on Discord who have access to those parts of Discord are well aware of what we're working on. We're working on some pretty badass stuff, and I'll be able to tell you guys about it soon. But also, I was building, I had to tear apart a deck and rebuild a deck, so I was home for a month. I took a month off, and it was a very productive month, but I got zero rest. Zero rest. My wife didn't get rest. It was super busy and super productive, and I think I mentioned it on YouTube before I went home that I was planning on not doing any YouTube while I was home. And not only did I not do YouTube, I didn't do any social media. I'm usually pretty active on X. I think I got like 2,000 followers or something over on X. I wasn't on X. I wasn't on anything. Wasn't on Discord. Wasn't on YouTube. Wasn't on nothing. I had to completely sever that world in order to take care of real world stuff and just hunker down and work on real world stuff. So that's what I did. I actually wasn't even going to leave the day that I left to get back on the road, but my fleet manager called and asked for a favor. He had a truck broke down on his fleet that was not far from me, and I didn't have an empty trailer. And I kept checking in the days previous to that to see if there was something, nearby that would be conducive to me not having an empty trailer, and there wasn't. So I was kind of just kept waiting for that kind of, they'd proposed a couple things to me in the last couple days that I was home that were impossible for me to get to without an empty trailer. It's like a live load picking up in an hour, and I didn't have an empty trailer. It's like that's not, a 45-minute drive to get somewhere when I don't even have an empty trailer that's not going to work. So the repower actually, it was a good setup, and I agreed to do the repower because it was a mechanical issue. I don't normally do repowers if they're anything other than mechanical. I won't even consider anything other than mechanical. And even then, it's kind of iffy, but if it's mechanical, then the chances are less likely that it's going to go sideways. Usually if it's the driver messed up their clock or, something happened to make that load go sideways, usually with a repower, I feel like we're cleaning up a mess. You're cleaning up somebody's mess, and that mess becomes your mess. That's been my experience with repowers. But this was a mechanical one. It was already past its 90 window, but it was a Tyson shuttle run, so it didn't really matter. They're like, just take it whenever you want to take it. Take it to the 90 whenever you want to take it. Now, I was going to take it immediately, but so I'm like, all right, well, yeah, I like where this is going. There's freight out of there. It gets me a trailer. It ended up paying pretty damn good. It was like 190 miles, and it paid $420. I could run it overnight. So kind of all of it was working out until I got to the repower and realized that this lady was still attached to the trailer, and she could not get detached from the trailer. She could not start her truck. Her truck would not start. So I was out there for a couple hours problem solving with her and trying to figure out a solution. Ended up, my first solution, she ended up having to get towed. She ended up having to get towed out of her spot, out from in front of the trailer, into a spot like 4 spots down. Now, in those hours before the decision was made to tow her out of that spot, I went back. I was like, look, I just kind of took control of the situation because I needed to get that trailer, So I was like, look, I'm going to go dolly down the trailer. I'm going to dolly it way down. I'm going to take all the weight off of the trailer and even put some space between your fifth wheel and the trailer. Then I'm going to unlock the kingpin and then disconnect your lines. You're going to release. I said, are the trailer brakes released? Yes. Well, let me go check. So go check. Knobs pulled out. Are your tractor brakes currently set? Yes. Okay. Go release your tractor brakes, but keep your foot near the brake, and I'm going to push you. What, you're going to push me? Yeah, I'm going to push you. I'm going to see how much the truck rolls. Because I could tell that it was flat going out into the aisle. But it appeared that the couple empty spots that were across were going, the elevation was rising a little bit. But my first goal was to at least shunt her out a little bit in front of the trailer so she could get towed out. So there wasn't any problems there. So the guy could just come connect to her, and she's already released from the trailer. She's already free of it. So I'm back there just rocking the truck. I could get it moved forward 6 inches, then back a couple inches, and push it again. And finally I got the tractor to move out like 2 or 3 feet. And I realized we could probably get her tractor out of the spot. But it was very high risk because and this is in the middle of the night too, if I was correct that the spots across the way did start to slope up a little bit, there was no way I was going to be able to push her tractor into one of those spots. No way. I could only move it gradually and only on an absolutely flat surface. So I wasn't going to risk pushing her out into the aisle, because if we were able to get her tractor out into the aisle, but then nowhere else, well, now she's blocking the aisle. Now nobody can back in or come through or any of that. So I was like, all right, I got you detached from the trailer. I guess we're just going to sit and wait for the tow truck. Like that's the, we're on plan C and D and E at this stage. I felt really bad for her, because she had no electronics in the truck whatsoever. She had no inverter, no APU, nothing. She couldn't roll her windows down. She had been there for almost 2 days, and it was hot when she was there. She couldn't run a fan in the truck. She couldn't charge her phone. She couldn't do anything. So I felt really bad for her. So, I just made sure. I was like, hey, she was very apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry. I know you can't repower this, and I'm a problem. I was like, no, man. Yeah, it sucks, but it sucks more for you. A lot more for you. Because now she's going to have to stay there a whole other day. So, anyway, that's how I kind of eased back into it. And I thought, and Lyle over at No Hippie Trucking Transportation, he always says this, your first load out, or your first couple days out, kind of sets the tone for that campaign. And I was thinking right away, oh, okay, if this is setting the tone for this campaign, I'll just go right back home. I'll just go right back home and reset. We'll see where this campaign leads after this repower, but it was incredibly frustrating. And then it was a hard drive after that, and back roads and hills, but it ended up kicking off a pretty good campaign. I took that load and ran another load, then ended up going to Joplin, picking up a Blue Buffalo load, which I think is General Mills. Took that to Indianapolis, and then had a pre-plan loaded up for this one that is great. I mean, short load, it's 300 miles. I was paying $900. So that cluster fudge of that repower did not set the tone for this campaign, which is good. It's ended up being a really optimal transition to getting back on the road, especially when you're home for a month. When you're home for a month, man, it's hard to get back into the groove. But into the groove I have gotten. So I've been working on the thing that I am not quite ready to talk to you on YouTube about. We've got a lot of people testing it, a lot of people getting ready to test it. I think I may have mentioned it a little bit here and there, but it's going to be a while before we're ready to bring that out into a public type of scenario. But I think you guys are gonna like it's pretty rad, and so that's what I've been working on all night, because I needed to keep myself up all night so that I could sleep today and then run this load tonight once I pick it up. So, and I just walked up there and checked on it, and they've got it in the dock. So as soon as I'm done with this video, I'll go stage up in front of that trailer, then go park and get a shower, and then get on with it. So I got a lot to talk about in these next few videos, a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk about some backing. I had a good conversation with another guy who owns a truck with Prime. He was parked 2 down from me, and we were just watching these a couple Prime drivers. One was Trans Am pulling a Prime trailer. Just, I don't understand why some of you guys jackknife into spots. It's incomprehensible to me why some drivers choose to jackknife into spots when you don't have to. When you've got plenty of room, you still set up and jackknife into a spot. Like, that is just incomprehensible to me. If you're a jackknife backer, tell me below, give me some reasoning, and we're going to talk about this in the next video, but give me some reasoning and logic for why you choose to do that when you don't need to. Because to me, it seems like it presents so much risk. You're swinging that trailer in ways you shouldn't be swinging that trailer between 2 tractors to get into a spot. There's no need for it. It's kind of like, have you guys ever seen a driver blindside when they don't need the blindside? It's completely unnecessary to blindside, and they're struggling and they're having to do all these pull-ups, and it's like, why did you do that? Why didn't you just go turn around and set yourself up right? There's plenty of room to turn around. There's plenty of room to set up for driver's side back. But these guys that set up and jackknife into spots, I'm just like, I mean, sometimes, you know, if you're in an incredibly tight spot, I get it. You got to do what you got to do to figure out how to get into that spot. But I'm seeing this constantly when there's plenty of room, so much room that if you set yourself up right, you'll be straight before your back bumper even gets to the front of the trucks you're back in between. Yet you still line up right in front of all the tractors and then crank your wheel all the way and jackknife into the spot. I don't get it. In my opinion, that is just not, that is way too high risk. Even if you're good at it. A lot of drivers who are good drivers make mistakes. My objective when I'm backing up is to minimize risk as much as possible. I don't care how confident I am. I don't care how experienced I am or how good I am. It is my objective is always minimize the risk that I'm taking when I'm backing up into anything, in any scenario. Anytime I'm backing up a vehicle with a full tractor and trailer, minimize the risk. If there's a straight back, I'm taking it. Doesn't mean I'm not capable of backing into any other space in that truck stop, but I'm taking it. Not only because I'm minimizing the risk for me backing up, but I'm also minimizing the risk for getting hit by someone else, because they're straight. Usually if it's a straight back spot, there's straight backs on either side of me. So I'm trying to minimize risk, like, all around. Minimize the risk for me hitting something and also for someone else hitting me. But I feel like jackknifing into a spot when you don't have to, and I'm not talking about like setting yourself up for a traditional. I don't even do that. Like I'm all the way across the aisle, and I'm slowly working back to where I'm almost always straight before I enter that spot, unless there's not room. But usually, like Walmarts and all that, there's, I would say, probably 7 out of 10 times I've got enough room to where I can almost be straight when I enter a spot. But I'm not even talking about the guys who do the, set up in a more traditional way and then go back. I'm talking about the guys who just jackknife into the spot when they don't need to. Anyway, I've got me and this other guy last night were just sitting there for 45 minutes waiting for them to tell us what to do with our trailers, and we're just like, I'd finally get a truck on both sides of me and think, okay, I can breathe for a minute, I can not worry for a minute, and then they both pull out, and I'd be like, now I got because there were just so many trucks coming in there that it was just constant trucks backing next to me, and on both sides of me I just didn't have seemingly competent people backing in. It was people just jackknifing in. So I'm just constantly, you missed my mirror by half an inch, you missed that mirror by half an inch. So, but I digress. Anyway, it's good to be back. I hope all of you are doing well. We'll get back into the YouTube routine and go from there. But it's good to be back. Be safe, make good decisions, always drive, thrive. Talk to y'all soon.